Through his career, Donald Trump has left behind a well-documented record of bankruptcies and thousands of lawsuits and angry stockholders and contractors who feel cheated and disillusioned customers who feel they've been ripped off. Trump says he wants to run the nation like he's running his business? God help us. I'm a New Yorker, and I know a con when I see one.
It's fair to say that at this stage of our political history, there's not an American anywhere who wouldn't be willing to either admit they've been the victim of a con job or at the very least allowed the perpetrators of such swindling to change their lives. Be honest now. There's not a person hearing my voice at this moment who hasn't been conned once or twice or thrice or lots more during the course of their lives. And I'm willing to wager that plenty of times that fraud comes from those who either identify themselves as politicians or those who seek to play political games and getting what they want from you to prop them up as important and maybe even make a buck. More than a few on the left this morning are coming to a conclusion that they were swindled by this kindly rumpled guy from Vermont named Bernie Sanders, willing to say and be anybody in order to further his agenda. But let's not wander there right now. Republicans believe Hillary Clinton is a master and veteran con artist. Democrats believe Donald Trump is a master and veteran con artist. So in a few months from now, which con job will you fall for? Welcome back, founder of the Guardian Angels, political thinker, heard every weekday at noon and again at 5 on WABC 77 in New York City. Curtis Sliwa joins us. All right, Curtis, let's see. Michael Bloomberg says, I'm a New Yorker. I know a con when I see one. Wait a minute. Michael Bloomberg's a politician. People would say he's just as much a con artist as anybody else.
Oh, not only that, what is he? You know, he's a Republican when he's convenient. He's a Democrat. He's an independent. And he's got the scatol. He's got the moolah. He buys people, and that's what he's done consistently. But I never heard him in the 8 years that he was elected mayor and the 4 additional years that he stole after he claimed, oh, term limits is for everyone else, not for me. I never heard him badmouth Donald Trump. And in fact, oftentimes they appeared together, you know, hand-locking one another, talking about economic development in the city, a new Trump development. I never heard any of this stuff about Donald Trump. Oh, I guess it's convenient now that Bloomberg decide to go on Team Hillary. What a fake, phony, fraudulent fugazi Bloomberg is.
There you go. Just another, and a couple of great words for a politician there. Just another politician. Now, there were those people, NBC News, they ballyhoo this headline here, how Obama's speech, the president's speech, won over hashtag Never Trump conservatives. Curtis, I don't know about you, but I can't think of absolutely one conservative who's willing to say, oh, yeah, I'm willing to vote for Hillary Clinton because I don't like Donald Trump. They're willing to say they'll vote for somebody else. They'll write in somebody. But I'll be darned if I can find anybody who says I got to go for Hillary Clinton.
Let me tell you something. Looking at the president last night in Philly, it's like he was talking in the mirror to himself, making love to himself. He mentioned himself 119 times. This was supposed to be the segue to Her Majesty, the coronation of Hillary Rodham Clinton. And he kept talking, I, me, I'm going to pass on the baton. Hey, let me tell you something, Barack Obama. You may be athletic, but if you're going to pass off that baton in a track race with Hillary Rodham Clinton, she'll drop it. Because she doesn't intend to go your way or the Bernie Altakaka Sanders way. It's back to the days of Bill Clinton. We've already seen that script, and I don't want to see it again.
Don't we, though, just have to tell ourselves and remind ourselves, Curtis, that these are conventions. People say these things. These speeches are made up. They're basically put together weeks in advance. They're not there to talk about anything that's gone wrong. They're there to basically tell everybody why we are the best. We are the ones you need to elect president. So it's still up to the American people to look at this and say, wait a minute, Mr. President, Obamacare is a complete mess. You didn't do these things that you promised. Our foreign policy is a mess. We got lost. It's still up to the American people at the end of the day, Curtis, to basically get the truth.
Please don't strain my brain. I'm still reveling in that fairy tale that Bill Clinton talked about. His wife, future wife, across the room, as they were drawn together, the limpid pools in her eyes, directing it finally towards Bill. Bill saying he wanted to reach out and touch, and I said, oh, creepy crawler, the lech. He's even talking about his wife in that way. Why did he have to conjure up that image? And yet, they believe that they can bamboozle the American public, particularly the hipsters and the millennials who are probably kicking back right there, you know, and hitting the bong or smoking a doob. And they didn't grow up with this, so they're figuring like, oh, It's Shangri-La. It's Camelot. Well, Camelot was bogus, and this Clinton fairy tale is bogus.
Smoking the doob? I haven't heard that in a long time. Wow, you did reach back for that one. Hey, speaking of the speech, Donald Trump is the guy who said he alone could fix this country. Last night, the president said, wait a minute, it should be that we can do it together as a people. Quickly, here's what he said.
Our power doesn't come from some self-declared savior promising that he alone can restore order as long as we do things his way. We don't look to be ruled. Our power comes from those immortal declarations first put to paper right here in Philadelphia all those years ago. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that we, the people, can form a more perfect union. That's who we are.
And we got about 60 seconds left here, but isn't it fair to say that he's right in many ways, that we do have to do this as an American people? We got to get together, but we got to make sure we get together and make the right choices here. Maybe he got one or two things right. Hey, look, a blind squirrel finds an acorn every now and then.
Yeah, but look at the passion that he has in dissing and dismissing Trump, right? You ever see that passion when he talks about ISIS, our enemy? Oh, that's right. That's the JV squad. Anyway, one thing we know, if Donald Trump is going to build America back to where it needs to be by himself, every building in America, every edifice, every bridge, every bus, every truck, every mailbox will have the name Trump on it.
By the way, 30 seconds. What do you think of Tim Kaine?
Oh, are you kidding? This guy's trying to do impressions there, stand-up comedy. He's not ready for prime time. And in fact, he's like the bartender. You know, when you've been knocking back a few Jamesons, the Irish car bombs, and at first you say, what a fuddy-duddy bartender. And then after you've taken a few in, you start laughing at stupid jokes and stupid impressions. That's what he must have thought we all were, half in the bag last night, because he stunk the joint out.
Curtis, you did it. You put doobs and Irish car bombs together in the same performance. I don't think anybody else could have ever done that. Don't forget, 77 WABC out of New York City, twice a day, Monday through Friday. Curtis Lee was there. Curtis, thanks so much for joining us. We appreciate your time. Before we leave here tonight, we want to just talk about a friend of the show. Jerry Doyle was a guy that I first saw when he was playing on Babylon 5 as an actor. Didn't know him before then, but Jerry was very political, and he ran for office at one time. He had a great website called Epic Times, and we hooked up with Jerry, and we got him on the show every now and then, and it was some of the most entertaining times I have ever had in television or radio. He's a guy from Brooklyn, New York, so we shared that love of New York and that passion. We both grew up there, and we just told jokes back and forth, but he was very serious about his politics at the same time. He was very meaningful in how he spoke. He went from a guy who was a pilot, worked on Wall Street, became a very successful actor, and really a great guy to know. Jerry Doyle passed away this morning at the very young age of 60. Why, we don't know, but it's worth, at the end of this show, just to take a couple of moments out and say goodbye to a guy that I never met in person, but he was a friend, and he was fun, and he was knowledgeable, and he became somebody that I think we didn't get enough of, and we deserved a whole lot more. Rest in peace, my friend Jerry Doyle. We are going to miss you. And on our way out tonight, let's spin the dial one more time for Jerry.
I love chaos. I love it. I think it's healthy. I feel sad for the Democrats because everybody's marching in lockstep towards, Hillary utopia. Cleveland is going to rock in the Drew Carey mode from his old TV show. All it's going to take is John Belushi in the cafeteria at Animal House to yell food fight, and it's going to be on. I remember when the Irish came in, if you go to kinsella.org, the signs in New York City used to say, no Irish, no dogs. They hated me, the Irish, more than they hated the dogs. I mean, Donald Trump politically is all icing and no cake. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, and at this point, I'm dangerously close to getting behind Trump because I don't like the way the system is rigging it yet once again. I think for any party, it's healthy that when you challenge the status quo, when you challenge the establishment's got it exactly the way they want it. It works for them. It doesn't work for us, and it's time somebody throws a flash grenade into it and shakes things up. We don't change what we do, what has worked historically, so that people feel better about how we're progressing as a nation. It's the same nonsense you hear from corporate thieves who get caught and step down, or politicians who step down for something they did, and they go, I want to spend more time with my family. No, you don't. You just don't want to be where you are, and it's the same thing with these. I have to watch what I say about politicians these days.
Mr. Doyle, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us.